All right, everyone, we made it to the reunion of season 10 of Love is Blind. We went ahead and changed up the plans, so this week we are just going to do a recap. Last week we did a watch along for the finale, and there was a lot of dead air. And if you're not watching along, it's kind of hard to
Keep up.
to keep up with what was going on. So we're just going to do a recap. We just finished the reunion. It premiered tonight, and a lot happened.
A whole lot
So,
happened, yes.
any initial thoughts before we dive into individual topics?
Oh, wow. I felt like there was a lot of opportunity for the couples, or not couples anymore, but former couples, to get closure. And I think, that's something that I've seen in past reunions as well. So, um, my initial thought is that, hopefully people walked away from the reunion feeling like they had an opportunity to say the things that they couldn't say before, and get things off their chest. And but yeah, there's a lot of really interesting moments.
Oh, yeah, we can go through it. And you guys are lucky. Flora is actually awake this time, so you may hear her in the background. She's enjoying her teething crackers, so we'll see how long she stays quiet. But she plans on making many cameos throughout this episode.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and I guess the first thing that we noticed is that they had lots of cast members like they usually do for the reunions. Any cast members there that you were excited to see?
Yeah.
Former cast members?
Oh, I mean, a lot of the most memorable couples showed up for this particular reunion. It was really nice to see, that they're still going strong. These are couples that, if you don't follow them on social media, you wouldn't know how they're doing. So it was really great to see them there, see that they are still going strong. And then, of course, there's always a little bit of a soft spot for the very first couple, to find love on Love is Blind, and that they were able to, welcome a baby after trying for 4 years. And I think for us, having gone through our own fertility journey, that was really nice to see that, they're celebrating the birth of their son. And then also, too, it was really great to see, I cannot remember their names, but the couple that we saw a little announcement about them welcoming their second child. So
Yes, and his grandmother who had passed away, she did a video for them.
yeah, that was so sweet. And that was just nice to see that from Love is Blind, that families are developing and coming from, the process of going through the show. So that was really nice.
Yep. And if we go ahead and jump into our first couple that they featured in this in the reunion was Vic and Christine. So Vic and Christine are definitely still married.
Yes.
Still very much in love.
Yep.
They seem like they're going great. There didn't seem like there was any. They weren't making any petty remarks or anything like that. Even at the end of the episode, they were asking, "What is something that Vic does or Christine does that irks you? A pet peeve?" And Vic had to say she likes to sleep with socks on, and then she said he likes to play Angry Birds on his phone and,
Right.
and shoot trash into the basketball,
Yeah.
or into the, throw trash, pretend like he's shooting a basketball into the trash can when he's just throwing
Yes.
trash in there. So she had to really reach for something.
Oh,
And if those
yeah.
are the pet peeves that you have, that's definitely a good sign that your relationship is in a good place.
Oh yeah, and I felt like but we kind of seen throughout the whole show that they have a very compatible personality type. That they both are very easygoing people, and it was just nice to see that everybody fell in love with them when they were falling in love with each other. And I definitely believe that if there was anything positive to come from the show, it was the fact that Vic and Christine found each other. So even if all of this was just for the two of them, and then we also did find out as well about another couple that ended up forming, but they were never aired on the show. And so that was nice to see as well. So it's like anytime you see people find love on these shows, you have to ask yourself, even for the heartbreak and the experiences of some couples, it was nice to see that maybe all of this was really for those that end up making it work, to find each other, like Vic and Christine.
Yet if every couple ended up getting married and staying together, you wouldn't be able to appreciate the ones that do make it.
Yeah.
So it's always nice to see, because last season I don't think we had any couples that remained married
No,
through the reunion.
yeah.
They had all broken up.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see Vic and Christine, and hopefully they'll feature them at reunions for future seasons.
Oh yeah,
because
they're gonna be. I think they're gonna be among one of the favorites.
yes, yeah, absolutely. I can't remember the name of the couple from the first season.
Yeah,
but,
which is so funny because
yeah.
it's like the two interracial couples, or
Yeah.
like the
ones with the most
probably
staying power.
and
Yeah.
also too like I think when you think of Love Is Blind, you're probably going to think of those two couples, especially they're going to stand out in your mind.
Yeah.
I just think that they're just going to be very memorable.
Yep. And that it started off on a high note, and then unfortunately it cut to Jordan and Amber,
Yeah.
and they didn't have the happy ending that some people thought they would. You and I, when we were watching the finale,
Yeah.
we knew that Jordan was forcing himself to say yes.
Yes.
And a lot of the reasons that we speculated on in the finale came to light during the reunion episode.
Oh yeah. Well, even I think actually in some ways he surprised me with some of the reasons why he walked away from the relationship, and I think we initially thought that perhaps it might be because of the fact. Flora's so cute. It might be because of the fact that it was. Sorry, Flora's making me laugh. That Amber had a daughter, so we kind of initially thought, well, maybe that was something that Jordan was really hesitant to step into, as being a instant dad.
But we talked
so
about
to
the
say.
distance, and that was a huge
and
deal.
and the distance was a big deal, but I felt like that was going to be the one thing that he just couldn't sit with.
Yeah.
But it turns out that was not, at least for him, that's what he stated, was not the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, it was Amber's jealousy and her trust issues, and also it sounded
Anger
like
issues.
and anger issues. Yeah.
Yeah.
She doesn't know how to work through conflict.
Yes, yeah.
And Jordan
drinking.
And Jordan seemed like he kind of wanted his cake and eat it too. He wanted to be out with his friends and do.
He
didn't
wanted
want
his old life.
Yeah, and a wife when it's convenient for him a wife on the
yes.
weekends, like a part-time wife. Is
Yes.
what it seemed like, yeah.
I mean, essentially what Jordan was looking for with Amber was he just wanted to date her.
Yeah.
I don't believe that Jordan was going out and seeing other people, but I do believe that Jordan liked having
His freedom.
And he's still in that stage that he just likes hanging out with the guys
Drinking.
and drinking. I think this was something that I brought up during the show as well, that I felt like alcohol was going to be an issue in their relationship. There was too many times that I noticed that they would argue, and that arguments would be, the result of the drinking. So you can't have two people that like to drink, and then also when they drink, they respond in very different ways.
I did feel bad for Amber. She seemed like she was on the verge of crying the whole episode. And I can't put my finger on it, but there was just something, you could see it on her face, that she was still very much hurt by the whole thing. And I'm sure this was months ago, because if I'm not mistaken, the reunion takes place usually about a year or so after filming has started.
Yeah, that's right.
So it had been months, assuming after they broke up. So I definitely felt bad for her, and hopefully she's able to find someone. But before she even gets to the point where she starts dating and looking for someone, I think she has a lot of. She needs to look inward. We talked about this earlier in the season too with some of the other cast members, that she has a lot of things to work on with herself before she's going to be able to give it her best shot when it comes to a relationship.
Well, the emotions were definitely really strong. We saw, her. I don't want to. It was an outburst. She walked off.
She walked off the stage.
Walked off the stage. And I would imagine, walking into the situation as a single mom, there's probably a part of her that feels like, I let my guard down. I invited this person into my life, and then it didn't work out. But I did mention in our last podcast how I personally thought that it wasn't appropriate to create a relationship with someone and your daughter has only met them one time.
Yeah.
I mean,
it sounded like they were able to form a bond. He kept saying that they were close, but then she was upset because she said you didn't even really say goodbye to the little girl when he was leaving.
But the thing is that they didn't foster a relationship. I really felt like that was unfair to Jordan for her to even say that. I felt like it was unfair because of the fact that she willingly walked into the relationship knowing that he didn't have a chance to bond with her in the first place, and apparently that wasn't a prerequisite for them getting married.
No. Because he met her right before the wedding. Literally, I think it was the day before the wedding.
Yeah, the day before. So it's like, how
could
he
be so?
Would
you have still married him?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see how him forming a relationship with her daughter was so important. If it was, then you wouldn't have married him until he had actually had a relationship with her. Yeah. So it's like, I didn't have. She didn't get my sympathy when it came to that, because that was her choice to bring him into her daughter's life without knowing that he was going to stick around. And her brother did warn her. He said, I don't think this guy's gonna be it.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, I agree. And next up we had Connor and Bree, who surprisingly are still together.
Oh yeah, that was the kind of sort of the big shocker. That was the big shocker of all, was that they surprised us, and we seen that Connor kind of leaned over and said, "Oh, I could finally get to show affection to Bree, so we can let the cat out of the bag, so to say, that we're still together."
Yeah, I thought for sure they were going to break up when they decided not to get married.
Yeah.
And then once the stuff came out with Chris, I assumed that Connor would see that on TV and be like, "Wow, she was entertaining this guy," and there was something there. She tried to play it off. We'll get to Chris in a moment, but she tried to play it off like it wasn't she wasn't into him. But throughout the whole season, she was throwing hints like she was into Chris.
Oh yeah.
And she was thinking about him. Yeah. So it's I was very much surprised that they were still together.
Well, and also too, I mean, we'll probably bring this up as well, but I don't know. To me, there were definitely moments where Connor annoyed me to some degree, but I didn't walk away from this reunion liking Bree very much.
Oh no. Yeah, she didn't seem like she was loyal to her friends either.
No.
Something else came up later in the episode, which we'll get to.
Well, two incidents came up in this reunion episode where it just felt like Bree is not a girl's girl.
No, and with Connor, I mean, she was doing things when someone's your fiance or someone you're supposedly in love with, she wasn't treating him, she wasn't respecting him as if he was her fiance. Because when Chris was sitting there and he was trying to tell her all these reasons why Connor's not the right man for you and why I'm the right man for you, she didn't shut any of that down. She just sat there and listened to him, and she was looking at him too, like she was intrigued.
Oh well, I think that I personally think that Chris tapped into something about her that is that she's ego driven.
Yeah.
And I think he was able to feed in that moment her ego. And I do believe one thing, sometimes even a jerk can say something that is honest. Yeah, yes.
All right, we're gonna take a floor break. Okay. All right, we're back. Those of you out there who are parents and have babies or toddlers or children under 4, try doing a podcast. It is definitely an experience. I'll say that. But we were talking about Connor and Bree. Yep. So
Bree not being a girl's girl.
Yeah, Bree is not a girl's girl.
Yeah. But I will say this too. I think I had left off on saying that, even though Chris is a jerk, sometimes even jerks can tell the truth, and I think the relationship between Bree and Connor works because of the fact that Connor never says anything. So Bree can kind of just go and do whatever she wants to do.
Yeah, he doesn't check her.
He doesn't check her on anything. So when you don't have any standards for the person you're with, that's what you get. But he'll learn. Sometimes you have to knock your head against a wall a few times before you figure things out.
Yeah, you got to set boundaries for yourself in a relationship, because otherwise no one's going to learn. Your partner's not going to learn how to respect you if there's no boundaries there. They just feel like they can do whatever they want, and that's the precedent that he set with Bree. That you can talk to this guy, you can entertain this guy,
you can show up for your friends.
You could sit there, and she would sit there and nitpick every little thing about him too, and he would never fight back. He would just sit there and take it and be like, well, I still love you. I'm still. It's kind of like how Brittany was with Devontae in a way, where she would just.
No boundaries.
Yeah, no boundaries at all. She would just accept whatever love he would be willing to give her.
Well, and also, too, when there was that conversation about, when Bree would say, oh, he got to see the worst of me. I was like, well, what was going on? Because that made me think that Bree must have had some very not very nice moments with Connor. And I just got the feeling that Connor, in a lot of ways, is a bit of a doormat in that relationship. And, I do believe that was something that Chris seen. And perhaps the thing that, connected the two of them together as friends was the fact that, and this was brought up in the show, Chris had his insecurities, but I do believe Connor has his insecurities as well. And I definitely think that was something that sort of brought them together as friends. And talking to each other, hanging out with each other, I got the sense that Chris had some insight into Connor's relationship with Bree, and that's why he said the things that he said, even though they were not nice things to say. I do believe that he was touching on some aspect of the relationship that was true. And yeah, we just watched that play out with how Bree showed up for other people through this season, and not just how she treated Connor. And that to me these are like red flag things to me.
So Chris did apologize to Connor. Did you think it was genuine?
I don't think anything that Chris says is 100% genuine. I think that Chris did what he could to save himself from the social media attacks. I do believe that Chris, who he was and how he behaved on the show, backfired, and the public can be very brutal.
Oh, that could impact your employment. It could impact other people that he's dating, his friends, his family.
And it's hard because you can't escape it. And so when you behave a certain way, you have to be prepared for the consequences of that. And I don't think Chris was 100% prepared for the consequences of his actions. And so when you ask the question, do you think it's genuine? I personally think that a lot of it was him trying to save whatever little bit of reputation or face that he could in that moment. I think it's more about public opinion as opposed to actually feeling genuinely apologetic for the things that he did.
I could see him ending up on some of their spin-off dating shows that they have.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's just say this. If they did invite him to, like, what's the show, something Love and not Paradise, but there's definitely a spin-off one on Netflix, but if he was to, be a part of one of the other spin-off shows, I think people would be really upset that they would even cast him for that.
Yeah.
You know what he could be on? So there's this new reality TV show, not on Netflix though, but it's about villains, TV villains. He could be on that. Because he's definitely, what's the guy from Real World that always ends up winning?
CT.
Not CT, but the other, he always wins.
Always wins. Johnny Bananas?
Johnny Bananas was on there. So maybe he could partner up with Johnny Bananas.
Like the mini version.
Johnny Bananas, though, the only difference is that he never apologizes.
Oh, no.
He just is like, hey, this is who I am. So
I still remember that finale of the challenge, and him and, I don't know if you remember Sarah. I think she was a teacher.
I think so, yeah.
But they were partnered up.
Yeah,
and then
I remember
at the end,
that.
they won, and they got to decide, do you want to split the money or keep it all for yourself? And he kept it.
He kept it.
He didn't
care.
Himself.
He did not care. So
she got nothing.
I know. So maybe he can go on a show like that, and then he can meet up with Johnny Bananas.
Yes. And my take on it is that it felt like Chris had maybe consulted a publicist or a PR firm, because he seemed very rehearsed with his apologies. and he kept quiet. It seems like he was coached. That's my opinion. I think he reached out to a publicist beforehand, and he was coached on how to try to win back some, try to kind of claw your way out of that hole that he dug himself in, because he is by far one of the most hated cast members in Love Is Blind history.
What did you pick up about his overall demeanor and temperament, outside of being at the words, but his facial expressions, his mannerisms, all of that? I couldn't quite place what he was feeling being on that stage.
He was stoic. Yeah, he didn't have much of a reaction. He didn't.
But something was definitely going on there.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell if it was maybe shame and embarrassment. But then he's so callous. I couldn't imagine him being truly embarrassed by the things that he says. So the only thing I could think of is that it was like the flushed cheeks, the eyes were like. I mean, I couldn't get a read on really what that whole thing was about. It was almost like, for somebody as arrogant as he was, and as unempathetic as he was, in that moment he just had this look of like.
I think he was just going through the motions. I think that's. I'm 80% certain that he was being coached through that. Someone told him exactly what to say and how to act on stage, and I think that's what he did. He was playing a role, just like he played a role on the show. He played a role in the reunion, and I think he knew better not to fight back against the questions or the accusations. I think he just agreed with what everyone was saying. So when Jess was going at him, he was just trying to take accountability. Even though it probably wasn't genuine, he was trying to come across as taking accountability for what he was saying and then apologizing. So I think he was just saying the things that he thought he was supposed to say and what was going to help him.
So do you think that his whole demeanor, or what we observed, was more about him having to say things he really didn't feel?
It could be. Yeah, because I think you can tell when someone's being genuine and when they really feel bad about the things that they were saying. Because remember the first thing that Nick asked him, he gave like a 2 or 3 word response, and Nick's like, "That's it." And then at that moment, it just seemed like he had rehearsed all the things that he wanted to say
about his interaction. Annoyed.
Yeah, about his interactions with Connor and his interactions with Jess, the things that he was saying to Bree. I think he just rehearsed his answers beforehand, and he just stuck to it. He didn't want to fight back. He just.
But do you think that whole reaction with his, like, what was happening in his body, I couldn't tell if that was shame or embarrassment, or was it just like, I'm just annoyed that I even have to address this?
Unless you are a complete narcissist, the reaction that he's gotten from the public has to bother him.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure he's been called some very ugly things.
Maybe it doesn't bother him, but maybe it bothers his family, and maybe they're upset by it. And I don't think he has a very common last name. I think his last name is Fusco or Fresco or something. So I'm sure people were able to find his family members. They probably contacted his employer, and if he's in sales, right?
I don't want to.
I think it said software sales or something
I'm not
like
sure.
that. It was something like that. But if you have a position like that where you're constantly interacting with different companies or members of the public trying to sell them things, and they know who you are, I mean, immediately he's going to be at a disadvantage. So I think he was doing everything he could to try to salvage his image, because I don't know what clearly he's an asshole, but then on the show, I think he was trying to play into it, and he was trying to lean into that bad boy character. And then when he drinks, he's even more so over the top. So if that's who he really is, and he wasn't even trying to, play a role on the show, then that's sad. That's sad that you're that messed up.
I think the thing is, and this is, I know we have other couples to talk about, but I will say this. I think with Chris is a representation of a lot of men. And I'm not to say women aren't that way as well, but there are a lot of the times that men will handle relationships or the ending of relationships in the way that he did.
It was callous. Yeah.
And they'll make it look like you just don't measure up to me.
Yeah.
And we seen Devontae do it. We seen Alex do it. They both did the same thing Chris did. It's just that Chris was a lot more abrasive in the way that he went about it. But I do believe that
and he tried to steal another cast member's girl,
right,
fiance.
But so did Alex.
Oh, when he was talking with Brittany, he.
So
yeah.
and
that's funny.
And we learned a lot of things about Devontae too. That he had his own games that he was playing. So I do believe that it is a common thing that men do, and Chris is just paying for it. Yeah. But the way he handled Jess, I believe he's done that before. It's not the first time. It's just this is the first time he's ever had to be confronted by it. But there are a lot of men that I believe handle relationships and the ending of relationships by making it look like the person they're dating is the problem.
What did you think about how Jess treated Chris during the episode? Because the way she would respond to the questions they were giving her, she kept saying, I'm not even going to mention it. Pretty much like, I'm not even going to mention his name. I'm not even going to acknowledge him.
Well, I think she handled it with such grace and such class.
She could have cussed him out, and she didn't do that.
One thing that I was really appreciative of...
Flowers chiming in.
Yeah, she agrees. One thing that I was really appreciative of that Jess said is when he said, we had our moment in the pods where we had this genuine connection, but what Jess said, and she owned that moment, she goes and says, no, what you picked up was me, the kindness and the openness and the loving kind of person that I am. And I was kind enough to try and see in the good in you. And so she was essentially saying none of what you've seen in that first part of the show had anything to do with Chris. It had everything to do with the type of person that I am. Yeah. And I loved that she said that, because he was trying to make it seem like there was something redeemable about him, that he was genuine in his connection with her, but it really wasn't that.
No. And they asked him on the show too, after you saw her house, her I guess whole read on the situation, why he reacted the way that he did, is that he had insecurities, and one of the insecurities she brought up was financial insecurities. And after he saw her home, and she's a doctor, she has money, her home is very nice, he felt threatened by that, and because of his own insecurity, he felt like he had to tear her down and bring her down onto the level where he views himself, because he doesn't view himself in a positive light, at least when it comes to finances.
But a lot of men will do that, and sometimes women will do it too. I'm sure there's men that have been in relationships with women, and they will nitpick and poke holes, and they'll try and make the other person feel as if they are less than, or not rising to meet the occasion, and it has nothing to do with the person. It has to do with their own personal insecurities and things that they are dealing with. And I was glad to see that Jess did not allow Chris's words to impact her to the degree that she believed it, because I believe that Brittany believed it. Yeah. I think Brittany started to believe that there was something wrong with her, as opposed to recognizing there was something wrong with Devontae.
So what was Jess brought up something in the episode too, that she felt that the girls didn't stick up for her. So when they had that meetup during the season where they brought in all of the couples and then some other members from the pods, and Chris was having a conversation with, it was
Ashley.
Amber was there too, right? So it was Ashley, Priyanka, and I think it was one other person, Bree. Yep. And she felt that the girls weren't sticking up for her in that moment.
Yeah,
because he was talking about her looks.
Yeah, those three are not girls.
No.
They're not. And there definitely was a little bit of tell us all the things you really don't like about her. Well, what is it? What is it? Because she's not morbidly obese. What in the world? Oh, because Ashley, you're super skinny. You're going to try and figure out what is it? Well, if you think she's so beautiful and wonderful, why are you asking him?
Yeah.
And this whole thing, I just wasn't buying
And if
that
you're girls,
whole
why
thing.
are you even entertaining what he's saying?
Yeah, because the first thing I would have to say to him is that what do you see in yourself that makes you think that you could talk about anybody? Because that's the first thing that'll come out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Is say, you know what, you did her a favor, and I don't want to hear anything you have to say, and I would have walked away. Because the fact that they even stood there and then tried to pull from him, tell us all the things you didn't like about her. Really, what was it? Tell us.
Yeah.
That's not what you do. Would they want somebody to do that to them? Would they want somebody to sit with Alex and say, tell us all the things you don't like about her?
What do you not like about her looks?
Yeah, what about her looks? Tell us
Yeah.
what those things are.
Yeah.
How would she feel? And she did apologize to Jess for that. But my thing is that you were too old to have engaged in that way. That's something you do in middle school.
Yeah, these
That's
are
the 13-year-old
late
behavior.
20s to early 30s.
Yeah, and not to mention, they shouldn't be asking him any questions because Bree ain't all that.
He should have been exiled at that point.
Bree looks like Jamie Lynn Spears. Okay? Jamie Lynn Spears, and this is not when she was popular on Nickelodeon.
Bree didn't come out of this episode or this reunion looking good. Well, we can say that. And we also had a new power couple reveal. So how do you pronounce his name? Harmel? Harmel?
Harmel, I think that's what it is. Her knight in shining armor.
Yeah, the doctor. I mean, he's a good-looking guy. He seems sweet.
Oh, yeah. I just was so happy for Jess. And let me just say this. I know people are going to probably think this, that I talk about people's looks. But you know what? I think it's because people go on these reality shows, and they're so full of themselves. Okay? I'm not the kind of person that I'm ever approach things from the belief that it's all about your looks, because I don't live that way. I'm not the kind of person that walks through life arrogant and full of myself. But some of these people that go on these shows and they have the nerve to talk about somebody or have this impression about somebody or insinuate things about someone. And let me just tell you this, is that when it comes to when people are like that, it's like you have to say something that it's like, this is a reminder, okay? That however you are viewing yourself, you need to reevaluate. Because the fact that you could sit there and watch somebody entertain or say something about somebody that's supposed to be your BFF, and then ask them and hear them criticize them and poke fun at them and not defend them in that moment, you got a lot of nerve, because you must assume that nobody would say that about you. Well, I'm just letting you know right now. Okay, Bree.
Yeah,
You did not get off the runway of Victoria's Secret. Okay?
Yeah.
There was nothing about it. So I could even give her a pass if she was the kind of woman that walked through life and everybody thinks she's beautiful.
Margot Robbie type.
Yeah, where you have never experienced in your life ever anybody talking about you or calling you unattractive. I could understand even that, because it doesn't make up for the type of person you are, but there are people that they don't experience that. They may have people judge them in other ways, but they've never been judged for their looks. But there is nothing about Bree, Ashley, or Priyanka that they have not been in the position where somebody has talked about them. They are, if anything, average.
Yeah.
Okay? So there is nothing about them that you couldn't poke holes at, and the fact that they didn't defend Jess in that moment was not right. Because the bottom line is that for women to sit there and say, tell me all the things that you didn't like about her, what is it? Is that she's not thin enough? Is that what it is? Like, tell us what it is.
Yeah, I don't know if that made them feel better about themselves.
Why do you need to? What is why is that even important?
Yeah, it seemed irrelevant.
It was totally irrelevant. If anything, they should have said, I don't want to hear anything you have to say about her.
Yeah.
That was wrong. I'm sorry. And Bree did that a lot with Jess. Jess, if you ever listen to our little podcast in our little corner of the universe, she is not your friend. And you need to think about that relationship, because a friend does not sit there and say, hey, you know what, we can hang out and we can still do things and kick it, when like she did when you guys were on that vacation in Mexico. And then a friend doesn't stand there and watch a man dress you down on national television and then entertain even more negative rhetoric about you, and not to mention the person that she's supposed to be in love with. So I hope if you hear this, you sound like you have welcomed a very kind and loving man into your life. I'm happy for you. But recognize with your friends too, because those are important relationships, and you need to reevaluate Jamie Lynn Spears.
Very well said. Last thing we could say about it, in my opinion, Bree is a fair weather fan, or a fair weather friend
and lover.
And lover. So anyone who is involved with her, either as a friend or intimately, Connor, just be mindful that she's not going to have your back. Mm-mm. And she may be quick to.
Mm-hmm. And apparently she thinks she's better.
Yeah, and she thinks she's better.
She thinks she's better. That's really what it is.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. We can go ahead and move on from them. So at least Jess had her happy ending. So we wish them well.
Yeah, we do.
Mike and Emma, however, Mike. It sounds like Mike's doing good. Mike has a new girlfriend, and Emma didn't seem very happy about that.
Seemed like a lovely lady.
Yeah, but Mike had a girlfriend, and no, he said a fiance, right?
No, it's just a girlfriend. They've been together for about 7 months, he said.
Okay, yeah.
And she looked like a lovely woman.
Yep.
Seemed very sweet, and you know what? I almost when they showed her, I was like, oh, I could see them being together. Like for some reason,
Kim has a theory that most couples look alike.
Well, because we had them, but then we had the other. They weren't a couple on a previous season, but they ended up connecting later on, and I can't remember their names. But he has longer hair. Yep. And it was funny because I was like, oh, okay.
They're from season 8.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I was like, they kind of look like they. Look alike, but I just got the sense, like, when I seen Mike's new girlfriend, I don't know why, I just got the feeling like, okay, yeah, for some reason they feel like a match. Yep. Yeah, they seem like a match. But Emma didn't look very happy about it.
Yeah, because she found out, I didn't know if she knew that he was dating someone, because it seemed like it was a news to her at the moment.
Well, I couldn't tell if it was news to her or she was just kind of still, it felt raw, maybe just kind of hurt by it a little bit.
But it sounds like she's working on herself. That's what she said. They asked her if she was dating, and she said no. So she said that she was working on herself and trying to improve.
Which is good.
Yeah, we saw that early on in the season, that she has a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
But she seemed like she was in a good place, and I'm happy for her that she is taking the initiative to better herself.
Oh yeah, and she handled it with a lot of grace, and I do hope that for her and Mike that they can at least be friends or friendly, because they didn't seem to have a lot of real tension between each other. So hopefully. I don't think they're a love match, but hopefully they can, root for each other, and she'll find love later on down the line, and they can still be friends, because it's a unique experience that you share with someone. So
yeah. And our boy Alex was in the hot seats.
Oh yeah.
You know what's interesting is Alex. It seemed like Alex got more heat in the reunion than Chris did, but I think it's because Chris he surrendered to everyone coming at him.
Yeah.
Whereas Alex, you could tell he was already defensive and he was being confrontational,
which is his go-to.
Yeah, because Nick was saying that there were some things throughout the season where your story was changing a little bit, and Alex was like, "Can you point to what? What were you saying? Can you point to what? What was I saying that was changing?" Like he was already, and he was doing the same thing with both.
He's trying to mess with Papa Nick.
Yeah, he's trying to. Yep. So. I think that Alex did it to himself, because if he just leaned into it, but he got very defensive, and because of that, he was getting more and more questions, and then it seemed like everyone on the stage was coming for Alex.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with Alex is that he's got to realize that how Ashley interpreted his behavior was not just unique to Ashley. Everybody was thinking that the things that he was saying, it just wasn't adding up.
Nothing was making sense.
I mean, nobody's life is that complicated.
Well, his excuse was, I went to Austin 4 times in the last couple of years. How am I supposed to remember the details of every trip?
Okay, this is what I would have to say. If you are the president of the United States, if I was having an interview with Donald J. Trump or Barack Obama,
Who's in a different country every day?
right,
Yeah.
yeah, and you're going, well, can you remind me what you were doing on this day? Heck, if I was talking to Taylor Swift, okay, and or you're promoting a film, or you're doing, if you're somebody that truly has that much going on in your life, that you would go, oh, it's going to be hard for me to place that. Hey, I'm not going to even go on that level. Just even for myself. And you and I work jobs where we have a lot of meetings, we have a lot of requirements, we have a child. There may be things that you just can't recall. But he acts as if he is, making, on a global stage. Like, he's like, well, I was meeting with the Prime Minister of England, and I can't remember what I ate for lunch that day. That was a really important meeting.
Yeah.
Alex does not have, his life is not that
Interesting. Yeah.
interesting, or doesn't require that much of him.
No.
And I know it can't, because he just travels from place to place.
Yeah.
That is not somebody that has a lot of responsibilities.
Yeah.
Unless you are touring, okay, unless you are Jay-Z, which he is not, there is no amount of responsibility that he has to have that he can just pick up and leave like that.
Well, we saw one of the conversations during the season where he was talking about something with the trip to Austin. And then when he had the same conversation with Ashley and Priyanka,
It changed.
the story completely changed.
He can't, but then he'll act like he's so certain, and he goes, "No, I'm not. I know exactly what I said." And then he'll go, "Well, how am I supposed to remember on what day or what happened? I was there 3 separate times. I don't." Your life is not that busy.
And also,
Your life's not that
you're
busy.
embellishing details, and it's hard to remember lies. And
Yeah.
he's told a lie to Ashley, and he's trying to remember the lie, but it's.
So he
If something that didn't really happen and you're not writing it down, it's going to be very difficult for him to remember all these details that he's probably making up on the spot. Because she is similar to her dad in that way, where she was asking these questions, these probing questions, trying to get to the bottom of
reasonable questions.
reasonable questions that you would want to know about someone's past.
And he couldn't answer them.
No, he couldn't answer them.
Because I would have to ask him, have you ever been examined? Have you ever had your memory examined, Alex? Did you get hit by too many soccer balls?
Yeah, that was...
that you can't remember what you did a month ago?
He didn't look good. He actually looked a lot worse than Chris did this episode, which... If you were to ask me before this reunion who's going to look the worst after the reunion, I would have absolutely said Chris. But Alex came out of the reunion looking even worse than Chris did. At least Chris, if it was genuine or not, he didn't fight back against any of the things that people were saying about him. He just apologized, took accountability, and kept it moving. And that's it. He kept quiet.
Yeah.
Alex was pushing back against everybody.
Yeah, well, I just think that's what happens when you feel like when you're used to telling stories and you think, if I stick to it, people are going to believe it.
Or they're not going to follow up on it. But that wasn't her personality. She wanted to get to the bottom of it.
And I think Alex just tapped into his MO. That's what he does.
And she said the reason that she wanted to go first during the wedding is because she said that if Alex was to tell her no, she felt like she would have lost her confidence in herself to be able to say all those things that she said, because she would have been hurt by it. So that's why she wanted to go first and just say everything that she said everything that she wanted to say throughout the relationship. She wanted to say it in that moment. Yeah,
and I think she articulated herself really well in that moment, and I hope that what we've seen for the couples, both the men and the women, right? Even Mike advocating for himself and what he wanted out of his life, and not allowing someone else to make him feel like he had to choose them. I think there's a common thread throughout all of this, is that stick to who you are and put yourself in a position where you trust yourself, that you know who you are, and you're willing to defend who you are. Because if you're willing to do that, then you're going to allow people in that respect you and love you, and you're going to, reject or limit the relationships you have with people who don't. And I think we seen that with Vic and Christine, how open they were, but we also seen that in those relationships, there was sincerity and really seeing the person for who they are.
Honesty. They talked about their flaws and mistakes from their past. I mean, in the pods, they disclosed to each other that they both had a drug arrest and that they both had it expunged from the records.
But also too, the way that somebody will come into your life, and even when you feel at your worst, or you can just be yourself, and they're going to love you and appreciate you. And Jess found that with Harmel.
Harmel, yeah. Like, I think it's like caramel, except it's Harmel.
Yeah. But he said such a beautiful thing about her. But what he did is he was like, I see you, and I love everything about who you are.
Yeah, he was
and
working
you didn't have to change anything for me.
Yep. And he just wants to let her know all the things that I see in you. This is why I'm attracted to you. Mm-hmm. And by saying those things, it probably helps build Jess's confidence in herself because.
Well, what it was is that just like Vic said, I see you without even having to see you. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what Jess found in Harmel, and I think that's Christine found in Vic.
Yeah.
It's that knowing that even when I feel like I'm at my worst, or I don't look the best that day, or I don't have to be on all the time, that this person still sees me,
loves you unconditionally.
Loves me. Yeah.
Yep. Yes. And we can go ahead and jump from Alex and Ashley to Alex's new roommate. Spoiler alert: Devontae. So Devontae and Brittany are no longer together.
They should move Chris.
There's a lot to unpack there. So where do you want to start with Brittany and Devontae?
Oh Lord, Brittany and Devontae. Brittany was very composed, and throughout the reunion,
she was starting to get a little upset though.
Yeah, I mean, I could see the anger in her, but she remained composed throughout the conversation. She did ask questions of Devontae and essentially said, why didn't you just end it? You kept stringing things along, but really he didn't end it because he just didn't respect her and he didn't care. That's the bottom line. You know what I mean? It could be that, or he just couldn't say no because he's chin to chest.
Oh, something else I wanted to bring up too, to jump back a topic. So Alex and Ashley, a lot of people online were actually very upset that she did that to him at the wedding. A lot of people said she should have done that in private. Where do you fall on that? Do you think she was okay to do that in front of his family and his friends, or do you?
Oh, you mean Ashley?
Yeah, I said Alex and Ashley.
Ashley.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was fine that she did it. I don't think there's anything about Alex that he deserved her having this one-on-one heart-to-heart. I don't think there was anything about her connection with Alex that was that deep. I really didn't. I didn't think it was that deep.
Okay. I just meant to ask you that, but
yeah, he'll survive.
Okay. Yes, and then when it comes to Brittany and Devo, well, another thing that I found weird too is we could jump ahead a little bit here. So when they asked him if he was dating anyone, he said he was dating someone, and he said that she's pregnant. But then he's roommates with Alex, and then he didn't want to say where his other house was. He said he was in Ohio. He has another house in Ohio, but for some reason he's living in Arizona with Alex, yet he's engaged to someone who's pregnant. Because
that is Devo's life. Devo is always in 5,000 different places living a life with different women, and he tends to attract apparently women that don't want a man with a neck.
After you said that, I actually started seeing memes about that online. I'm like, did people hear the podcast?
Maybe it's the new thing. I don't know. The one thing I loved about you was that you had a neck.
Oh, yeah. Got a neck.
Yep.
I don't shave all the time. I got a little neck beard going.
I know. So. I was like, hey. But it must be a lot of women out there that like man without a neck.
Oh, man. So, Devo, I don't have anything I could say to defend the guy. She said that after the show wrapped, 2 weeks or so went by and they didn't see each other, right? And then they had a phone call, and she was asking him. She's like, "Do you still want to be together? What's going on? Like, are we breaking up?"
Yes.
He said yes. But then he went on a road trip with the other girls.
He goes on a road trip with the other girls, which I thought was a little odd. Because who takes a girl trip with a guy?
So it was Priyanka,
Ashley, and the three musketeers that sat there and watched Chris talk about Jess.
and Bree. Yeah, Bree was there. Yeah. Yep.
Three musketeers. I hate to say this. Mean girls.
They're catty. Yeah.
Mean girls.
Yeah. And for some reason, Devontae went on a trip with them to was it Russo? I don't know.
Russum, I don't know.
Someone, I didn't know who they were talking about.
I don't know who it was.
But they went on a trip together and
did not tell Brittany.
But he told Brittany that he was going on a work trip.
But not one time
a road trip,
did they reach out to her and say, hey, are you going to come on the trip with us? Because that's what would be my thought. Why are you engaged going on a trip with three women?
Well, Andy was telling them that he was already broken up with her when he wasn't.
And I know people are out there are going to probably say to me, that feels a little old school.
What do you think about this, Flora?
I know.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, you agree?
Yeah.
You agree? I know people are going to probably think this is an old school way of thinking. But if you are, and I'm going to bring this back to Bree, because the other two are single, so they can do what they want to do. Okay? Priyanka and Ashley can do what they want to do. They're two single women. I do believe that as another woman to woman, I probably would have wondered why your fiance is not coming on a trip.
Well, I would at least send her a text. Been like,
and say,
Devontae's saying you guys broke up.
Yeah, oh, that's right, he did. He told them that they had broken up.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a little interesting because to me, I would not be taking a girls' trip with a guy and I have a partner.
Yeah.
I think it's a little strange that Connor didn't know that he was even on the trip until she was on the trip.
Yeah. And he said that he stayed at the Airbnb
weird.
with Priyanka because he said he wasn't able to get confirmation for his or something along those lines.
Yeah, that all of a sudden he hasn't booked the Airbnb, or he couldn't get confirmation for his Airbnb. But not one of them said, "Hey, should we talk to Brittany? Check in with her." Apparently, they didn't even check in with her to see if she was okay.
Do you buy her statement when she said that they said, were you in love with Devontae or were you in love with the idea of getting married? And she said she was in love with Devontae.
She wasn't in love with Devontae, okay? Let me just say this. Brittany was not in love with Devontae. Devontae doesn't even have anything going on, okay? The guy does. I'm not saying that the guy is not someone that is lovable.
Yeah.
But by his mom, the person that birthed him, they may have something redeeming and see other aspects of him, but she did not know him long enough, first of all. Second of all, he didn't show her anything about himself that was loving or lovable.
Well, they showed a video of him and Alex playing soccer, doing some, I guess it was like a social media video that they did together where Alex was trying to block Devontae's goals, and then Nick was like, you showed more personality in that clip than the whole season or something like that.
Yeah, the guy is not, there's not anything interesting about him. There was nothing that he showed her that would say, oh, I fell in love with the fact that he was so charitable. When we went and fed those homeless people, you know what I mean? Or, when he showed me that scar that he had donated a kidney. He didn't do anything. The guy didn't do anything. Okay?
I know you didn't like the interaction between her dad and Devontae. You feel like he should have been a little bit tougher on Devontae, like when he was.
Oh, I mean,
he was asking good questions, but he was very nice about it.
I think the biggest thing with Brittany, and let me just say this: I think her dad is a nice guy. I think he has always been just a nice guy. Very sweet, very, very caring. However, as a father and as a mother too, you have to teach your kids how to be strong. And I'm not saying that Brittany's weak, but sometimes you got to teach people. You can't always take every situation and lead with kindness all the time. Because some people are. The bottom line is that yes. When, like Michelle Obama says, when they hit low, you go high. You should always handle yourself with class and grace. But you also have to understand, too, I don't have to build you up to take the high road. And I felt like with Brittany's dad, he had to start the whole conversation about saying how he felt bad for Devontae. Bad for what? Nobody made him look the way that he did on national television. He made strategic choices throughout the show to behave the way that he did. He made conscious choices to talk to this man's daughter the way that he did on national television. He didn't need to be defended. He's not a baby. He's a grown man. And he has to be able to take responsibilities for the things that he does. And to sit there and go, I don't think you should be facing the things that you had to face. You didn't need to say all that.
No.
What you need to say as a father is that you disrespected my daughter, and you will never, ever get a chance to stand in my presence again. And I'm glad all I can do is ensure within her that she has the confidence to know that she is better than what she experienced with you.
She has a lot going for herself. She is just she's desperate. So I think when she meets guys, she ignores all of the red flags and warning signs, and she just continues on with the relationship and tries to make it work. And because of that, she settles. She just settles all the time. And then I think she ends up with a lot of guys like Devontae that lead her on. And she's a very pretty girl. I'm sure she has no problem getting guys or getting hit on. But I mean,
But her dad does not help her with her strength.
No.
Because we put a lot of responsibility on the same sex parent. So we always say men teach boys how to be men. I mean, fathers teach sons how to be men, and how to be women. Yep. But also too, for young girls, it's so important that they see that their father would soldier for them, that their father would defend them, and that their father sees them as being the most valuable thing. And Ashley's dad showed that. He showed that Ashley was valuable to him. And he didn't just accept this guy in. It wasn't like, oh, just because you showed up. Brittany's dad was so willing to just allow him to walk into this family, and the guy didn't do or say anything. That is Brittany's problem. And she's seen her dad just accept him with open arms, and he knew nothing about him. And really what he should have said is, I don't know you yet. I don't know anything about you, but there is nothing more precious to me than my daughter. And until I know for sure that you're about the right thing, I can't give you any answers.
Yeah.
That's how he should have handled him. Yeah. Because if he would have handled him like that, maybe she would have had a little, some reservations and some higher standards.
Yeah. So I could definitely see that. I think she probably saw a lot of that growing up, that he was too quick to forgive and forget. Mm-hmm. And because of that, that's how she treats her relationships and maybe her friendships as well, where people may wrong her, but she's quick to just
question
move
herself
past it.
And move past things you can't.
Whereas Devontae did lots of things throughout the season where most people would have walked away from that relationship because you're like, clearly this person is not into me.
Yeah.
But she didn't. She stuck it out and she tried to make it work. But her persistence was misguided because he was not the guy to do that with.
No. And she didn't need to be like, oh, I just want to know everyone to know that he's a good guy and everything. Let he's grown. Yeah. He made his decisions and he's going to have to face that. Yeah. And you don't have to have somebody up there sitting there talking about. He didn't look like he cared anyway. He's out there playing soccer. So he wasn't worried about what anybody was saying about him.
Yeah. So that was the last couple. I don't think we missed anybody. Yeah, Amber. Yeah, we already covered Amber and Jordan. Yes, that was the last couple. So what was your overall thoughts on the season as a whole?
I think the overall thoughts are, I think that this show proves time and time and again that love is is a very mysterious thing.
Complicated.
It's a complicated thing. It takes a lot of work. And there are a lot of people out in the world that have a lot of issues. And you have to know that you're going to come across some people that are going to make their problems about you. And you have to recognize that when it comes to love, be quick to walk away from things that you feel in your heart are not right, but keep your heart open as well, because there will be the person that comes along that is your fit. And if you're wasting time with the wrong person,
Brittany.
It blocks your blessings, and it blocks you from having people in your life that are really there for you. And I will say this. There were certain things that I noticed in Jess and in Christine and Jess was in a place in her life that she was open and ready to invite someone in that was going to love and respect her. And what she found was a partner that she could just be friends with, that she could have a friendship with, and she didn't care about what he thought about her. She talked about, I would hang out with him, we would sit in sweats, I would call and complain about my day. And all of the things that she was realizing is that this was somebody that was consistently there for her, even when there was no pretense to it. She wasn't thinking about her being perfect. And Christine and Vic talked about that, right? I could just be myself with this person. And he said, she feels like home to me. And when you think of someone feeling like home, it's because you can be vulnerable with them. You can go through difficult times. You can feel comfortable around them. And so, but part of being able to do that is also feeling comfortable when it comes to who you are and being comfortable with yourself. So my takeaway for this is that anybody watching the show, whether you are in the process of finding love or finding love with someone else or finding love for yourself, I would encourage you to remember that there's no person that you're going to meet that is going to fulfill your needs the way that you do. And anybody that comes into your life should complement who you are and elevate you. And if you don't feel like they're doing that for you, and when I say elevating you, it's not necessarily always financially, but seeing all of the wonderful things in you that make you who you are, and encouraging you to be yourself and to fulfill your purpose in life and being by your side and doing that. That to me is, symbolic of a true friend, but also to a true love. So set a standard for yourself, know what it is that you're looking for, and don't compromise. That would be my takeaway, is don't compromise, because this show shows you that if you do, you can waste so much time, and a lot of the times the signs are there.
Yeah. You're right about that. Now that we're 10 seasons in on this show, do you feel like they should change the format, or are you happy with the way that the show is structured and they should keep doing it the same way?
I think that I don't know what the process is like for them when they're actually coming onto the show. I don't know if they have opportunities to go through psych evaluations and meet with therapists or talk about what they're looking for in a partner. I would credit checks. I would assume that the show would do its due diligence in that, but I've seen too many people on this show with a lot of problems that I personally would never have picked them to participate. But it's reality TV, and I think at the end of the day, you're going to have people that are chosen to participate that they know have problems, but it makes for interesting TV.
It does, and I don't think that they want to weed out all of the strange characters that they've had on the show, because people like Chris, every season they have some very odd people that are cast on
Yeah.
the show who
Yep.
make for great TV. So whether you like it or not, the show is meant to be entertainment. And if
Yep.
every couple was like Vic and Christine, the show probably wouldn't have made it past the
No.
season.
No.
So you need that drama. You need
Mm-hmm.
these crazy out there
Well,
weirdos who are going to
yeah.
make for good television.
Well, and I think, sadly enough, the show probably is reflective of real dating
yeah.
experiences,
Especially
and
online.
oh
I mean,
yeah,
I can't
with
imagine.
apps and
Yeah.
things. I mean, there are people that can relate to dating an Alex or dating a Chris, dating a Devontae.
We should do a
You
whole
know,
episode on just online dating because
oh
the
yeah,
online dating world is interesting. We met online,
yeah,
but
we did.
I can't imagine being a woman and trying to find a potential match online. I mean, men are. I mean, men can be a lot. Women can do it as well, but men tend to be a lot more predatory, and there's a much higher likelihood that you're going to be a woman and you're going to encounter a man who maybe you decide to break things off or you don't want to continue the relationship with him. He may stalk you. He may try to kill you. I mean, this guy. There's guys out there like that,
Oh
and there's
yeah.
women out there like that too. But in my I haven't done research on this, but I'm going to go ahead and go off on a limb and say there's a much higher likelihood of a woman encountering a man like that than there is a man encountering a woman like that.
Oh yeah, I think for women, if there's any sort of predatory behavior, it's financial or, you know, I think women tend to see like, oh, I'm looking for, a date where I can somebody takes me out and takes me places.
Yeah.
And, maybe that. But I think for men, I think you're more likely to see men playing a lot of games. Um, not really wanting to connect or attach themselves. And I do believe this, that you have more men who are insecure, like Alex,
Chris.
Devontae, and Chris, and they go on there with all this bravado, and they're so messed up.
Yeah, they think they're God's gift to earth. Yeah.
Yeah, but they have a lot of issues.
Yeah.
Just a lot of issues, and then they spread those issues out into the universe, and like COVID, and and pass on their illness to everybody else.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but if you roll around with dogs, you're gonna get fleas.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would just for women, I would say this, just don't reason things away, especially with online dating. If something comes up, just kind of see it for what it is, and move on.
If you're not comfortable sharing it with someone, at the very least, write it out. So write out the whole situation. I met this guy, this, and this happened. Write it out, read it out loud to yourself, and take yourself out of it. Pretend like you're reading a message from someone who's reaching out to you for advice. And you're reading that out loud, and you're like, oh man, that sounds crazy. What would I tell this person who's in this situation? Take yourself out of it and take your own advice that you would give to that person. Or if you're not able to come to that conclusion because you're too close to it, I hate to say this, but you could even reach out to like ChatGPT and just ask ChatGPT, coming from a non-bias position, what is your take on this situation, and what should be my read on it? At the very least, like don't just keep going through the motions in a relationship when you know something is wrong. Because at the least worst outcome would be that you just waste your time, but there could be something a lot more serious that comes with that. You could put your life in danger. You could put someone else's a life in danger that you care about. Someone could come and they could drain you financially. They could turn your life upside down. And this is for men and women. So you always have to be careful when you're dating, or even if you're married to someone. Just because you're married to someone doesn't mean that person could have nefarious intent, and they're doing things to maybe benefit themselves, but then hurt you in the process. So.
I would also say, in addition to all of that, also know too that even for couples where you're able to work things through and you stick together, there are going to be highs and lows. And I think that's what Nick and Vanessa were trying to get out with Vic and Christine, because they were kind of like, is there got to be something, right? There
If
has
there
to
is
be.
something they didn't want to air it out on TV, and
No,
then good for
no.
them that they're able to work through it themselves.
But there's got to be, because even when you are in a relationship that has lasted, longer than a year, which is when they have the reunion, there are going to be things that you have to uh, grow through in your relationship with someone, because it takes time. I think that's another aspect when you were talking about the takeaway from the show. I think to assume that love is something that there is love is a I do believe that it is a connection that goes beyond the physical. It's just something that can draw you into someone, or something that pulls you into that relationship, and so that there's love there. But it's also, love is something that has to be work. It's there's an element of working at it as well when you're in a relationship. It's not something that love is always just self-sustaining. It is choosing, making choices to be with that person, and to grow with that person, and to work through things with that person, because it's very easy to be by yourself.
Oh yeah,
Right?
yeah.
It's very very easy to choose you, but it's a lot harder when there are moments that you have to set yourself aside and choose your partner. um and then there's also moments of having to figure out how you can choose yourself, as well as showing up for them. So it's a lot of conscious choices, and then there's also an element of something that's unexplainable and sort of natural that comes with love. So I would tell anybody, also recognize too that when you're in a relationship or a partnership, it's gonna be moments of real work, and you have to know that going into it, that there's gonna be give and take. But when you have to sacrifice so much of yourself, and there's more negative than there is positive, then you do have to sort of question that relationship and be willing to say, is this something I should walk away from?
Oh yes, absolutely. I agree with everything that you just said. So I just wanted to wrap this up with telling you all thank you so much for sticking with us throughout the season.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed all of the everything that went into this podcast, including all the interruptions from our little baby Flower and
Yeah.
Bonnie, and us just trying to,
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
guess,
we
just find a good groove for how we want to structure the show. So we enjoy watching Love Is Blind together. So we thought this would be a great show to kick off our podcast. But we're going to be doing many other episodes, including some, I guess, true crime.
yeah.
Lo-
Oh,
uh,
when love goes wrong.
yep, when love goes wrong. We'll have to figure out some catchy name to title those episodes so that we can kind of distinguish that
Yeah.
between the other love
Yeah.
shows that we watch. But you love to watch
Dateline and
quite a
2020
few.
and
Yeah, but I mean, you have a whole bunch of love shows that you enjoy watching that I can only do so much. So
yeah.
Kim may be doing some solo episodes on those. So we'll see.
Right.
You
And
also like to watch, what was it, Sister Wives and
oh yeah.
Plural Love and all
Oh
these
yeah.
shows.
So I definitely, I think more than anything though, I wouldn't say that I'm an overt romantic. I just definitely like understanding people, and
Yeah, you watch it for the spectacle of it.
yes,
Yeah.
well, and also too, people are just fascinating to me,
Mhm.
and people's choices and kind of what's underlining their actions. But yes, again, thank you so much. If you are someone that has taken the time, whether it's just to listen to this episode or have listened to the past episodes, I appreciate you. Um, Please, I know I say a lot of things to be funny, but I think at the end of the day, my husband and I have big hearts. We like to see people win in life, and even if somebody on this show didn't necessarily present themselves in the best light, I do say I pray for them that they find, um, you know, the peace within themselves to work on the things that they need to work on, that that they grow and improve from this experience. I hope that people show them grace. And I also hope um, that they can be better people for themselves than anyone else in the future. And so ultimately, at the end of the day, everyone on the cast of Love is Blind, we send them well wishes. It's not easy to put yourself out there on television and have people, you know, comment and criticize. I know I did it on this show, but at the end of the day, I do really want to see people um, improve themselves and win in life.
Yeah.
And so if you didn't, represent yourself in the best light, all you can do is do better in the future.
Chris. Chris.
Yeah.
Alex.
Yeah. And move forward in a kinder manner. So we wish you all well. We wish the Love is Blind cast well. Thank you, Nick and Vanessa, for another great reunion. And you did an excellent job hosting the show. Papa Nick set some people straight.
Floriana just grunt. She's just grunting, so I think that's her way of saying goodbye. But I'm right there with you. I feel like when you go on these shows, you're opening yourself up to criticism. And then when you act like an ass on TV, you're even more so opening yourself up to criticism. So I don't feel like we said anything that was unfair. Bree did a lot of things that warranted her being judged. But, nobody's perfect. And you put it, I couldn't have said it better myself, that especially if you see yourself on TV, hopefully you're able to see your actions. It's not someone telling you your actions. You could see them yourself, and hopefully you could learn from it. So, Chris, whether it was genuine or not, took accountability in the reunion, and he apologized. And I kind of hoped that the other cast members would do the same thing, but maybe they'll be able to learn from this experience and come out of it better people.
Exactly. That's all you can do. So thank you so much for taking the time to listen, and we can't wait for you to join us in future episodes on different shows and topics. And so we will see you sometime in the future. And look forward to hopefully, possibly one day interacting with some of our listeners. And
send us your stories. So we'll open that up soon. We'll create an email that you guys could send us your stories if you want, whether it's your maybe a relationship entanglement that you're in, where you want to get our feedback on, or maybe just something that's happened amongst your friends or something at work. We would love to. Maybe we could have whole episodes dedicated to talk about it.
It would be totally anonymous. No names would be said. But I think when you share situations that you might be faced with, a lot of people are going through the same things, and sometimes it can just be helpful to have a different perspective.
Yeah, and to be heard.
Yep. All right. We'll catch you on future episodes then.
Catch you all soon.